Mayor, you should be ready to begin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Freese. I'm the mayor of Tonganoxie. I'm calling to order this regular meeting of the Tonganoxie City Council for January 3rd, 2022. Mr. Porter, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Ms. McCutcheon.
Here.
Ms. Stevens.
Here.
Mr. Dale.
Here.
Mr. Donnelly and Mr. Hempel are absent, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Would you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. The minutes, there's an addendum to the minutes. Mr. Brakovich, did everyone get a copy of that? Or do I just have that?
Yes, Mayor, everyone was provided with a copy.
Okay, so, Council, you may want to look at that also. And I will, if there's any conversation or questions, say so. If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes with the amendments noted.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. Thank you, Ms. Stevens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Council. Item 3 is the consent agenda, the review of the bill payments. Are there any questions, concerns, or conversation regarding the bill payments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I notice one to Liner Weaver Construction, 141.6. Where's that put us on that whole project?
Yeah, that was, I believe, the last invoice that we received, so that closes out the Interceptor Sanitary Sewer project.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Not for me.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. We have nothing listed under old business, but it's my understanding, Mr. Porter, we have a speaker tonight who signed up in time.
We do. Mike Steiben, Mayor. He's
Great.
here.
Thank you. Mr. Steiben, glad to have you. We have a hard,
Okay.
We have a hard 3-minute.
Steben is how you pronounce my
I
last name.
apologize.
You know, that's German.
We have a hard 3-minute limit, but if you need more, just let us know.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I just wanted to bring you up to speed on a few things that are happening at the county that we're going to be interacting with y'all. First of all, the ARPA funding, the American Rescue Plan Act funds. The county is trying, we're coming to the point where we're going to be able to decide how much money we have. The goal is to have $2 million in matching funds, and then we would match those with projects that you guys have with your ARPA funds, and maybe then, leverage that funding for some projects. So I just wanted to make you aware, and it may not be quite 2 million, it may be $1.5 million, but we're gonna try to match that with the cities. So that's something that's coming up that maybe you guys can put on your agenda, some projects that we can work together toward funding. Also, I just wanted to bring you up to speed, the Leavenworth County Regional Capital Improvement Plan, which is a transportation study, is something that's being approved through the Kansas Department of Transportation, working with cities and with the Port Authority. And that regional transportation study takes about 18 different projects that have been sitting on the shelf for 20 or so years that relate to transportation in Leavenworth County. And they're going to study which of those, as far as priorities, are important to the county and to the cities, and where they fit in the priority level, and then we'll, give those a priority. One of the problems of getting KDOT funding for the county over these years has been that we haven't had a transportation plan in place. So this is going to be putting that plan in place, and then maybe through that we can prioritize what our top projects are, and then get some funding through KDOT for some of these projects. So We would like to encourage you through this is the commissioners, we voted at our last meeting, to encourage you guys. There's a couple organizations, but the one we are recommending is Kimberly and Horn. And the reason that we're hoping the city of Tonganoxie, when you vote, will support this is because they have a very good, transparent, open process where the leaders of each city will have the opportunity to designate what your top priorities for projects are. And instead of just professionals, and it will allow you as city leaders to weigh in more effectively. So we hope that when they meet on the 13th, that Tonganoxie will support the Kimberly Horn choice. Other than that, my 3 minutes is going to quickly run out here, but I just wanted to touch bases on a couple projects that we have coming down. That's probably my 3 minutes.
That's your 3 minutes. If you can do it quickly, go ahead.
Can I take a couple more?
Yes, sir.
Tonganoxie Road, County Road 30 is at the top of our priority list. Next year, the purchase of easements, construction, and designation for the 2 miles of County Road 30 is going to be designated as basically our top priority. Up from Dempsey Road north, we're going to complete this 2 miles south of Dempsey Road, and that's ready to go in 2023. And then we're going to do the purchase of easements and the construction, hopefully in the following years, of Dempsey Road to 92 Highway. And that will give us a western Leavenworth County connection from the northern part of the county all the way through to Lawrence. And that's a connection that we have never had on the western part of the county. So we've been successful at getting that prioritized as a top level project. So that is happening. I also wanted to make you aware of a couple. We had 3 areas of the county that were, you don't say dangerous, most dangerous. They tell me never say the most dangerous parts, but they're the most accident prone areas of the county. One of them is down on Golden Road in the far south. One of them was on 158th Street north of K32. And then one of them was between here and Leavenworth down in the bottoms of Stranger Creek on Tonganoxie Road. Those are the 3 most accident prone. We were able to get high-risk rural road funding matches for all 3 of the, well, for 2 of the 3. We've gotten funding for those, and we're being able to widen the shoulders and get matching funds. And I have the totals, but I won't give you those, but the amount that is being matched. So I feel really good about that progress on some of the accident-prone roads. So we want to work with the city of Tonganoxie on the areas, especially where you feel like we need to prioritize projects. And that's, I haven't really been here as much when the COVID pandemic was going on, but I hope that we can work together. And the last thing is the 152 bridge, or the Eastern Gateway Bridge, proposal to build a bridge over the Missouri River at Lansing. We have a proposal for that, and we actually have a good presentation from our Public Works Director, Bill Knoll. And when your convenience, or at your convenience, I'd like to set up a time when he could come and present that to you as a council. And we have a video showing that you could reach the airport within 10 or 15 minutes. If we get that connection, we think, you think Zona Rosa, you think that area, Liberty, how that has grown. If we could get a connection into the metro, we feel that that would be extremely beneficial to Leavenworth County, tying us into the metro area. So we'd like to get a time to present that to you guys, if you could work with us. And if you have any questions, I'd be fine to entertain those.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Stephen, I do have a question. So County Road 30, it's not familiar to me. It's not one that we discuss regularly. I just looked it up. Where is that? right now?
Where, as far
I mean,
as,
I just Googled it. Is it parallel George Road? I don't know. I can't tell.
I think it's 236th Street, is that right? But it's just out, if you head towards McLeod, it's the cutoff
I'm with you
road,
so far.
County Road 30. You follow around the curve, and it's the first road, it's labeled County Road 30, I can't remember.
So you're going towards McLeod, and then there's a road that goes,
Goes directly north,
okay.
and it's
Right now, it's like you,
It's gonna be paved all the way to Dempsey when we're finished in 2023. Then the plan is then we'll pave it all the way up to 92 Highway, and then there'll be a
and where's
hard
90,
surface
where's
road.
92 Highway?
92 Highway is the one that runs between Leavenworth and McLeod, and on the northern part of the county.
Okay. So Evans Road or Old 40, as I'm familiar with, that goes from here, it's like the back road from here to Baser. Old 40 and 162nd Street, there have been many near fatalities and fatalities at that intersection. Is it a county road? I think so. In fact, a senior at Baser Linwood High School, I know where your daughter goes, it's just a dangerous intersection all the way around. Improvements have been made at 208th Street, 206th Street, which is County Road 25. That is a very dangerous intersection as well, and no fewer incidents have occurred at that intersection. I don't know what's going on with that intersection, but I would be curious.
Well, I know the Public Works keeps track of the number of accidents at each location, and you can actually get a map from Public Works that shows all the locations of the accidents have happened in 2019, 2020, 2021. And the three that I named were the ones that had the most accidents.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And that 158th Street between Kansas Avenue and K32, I think we've had 3 or 4 fatalities there. So that obviously, that was one that we were able to get at the top of the list. And then there's been a lot of fatalities down through, on the way on Tonganoxie Road to Leavenworth. So, but yeah,
I don't doubt it.
if you wanna put, I mean, we're always looking for, if you know of accident-prone areas that you're concerned about, please bring them to my attention, bring them to Doug Smith's attention, bring them to the other commissioners' attention, because we're focused on these areas where there are needs
And
out
some
in the
of-
county.
Yeah, and some of them would not take a lot of intervention to make them a lot safer. Some of them would be small tweaks to make them,
And sometimes you think that they'll do things that doesn't always happen, because I tried to get them to put, we did a traffic light study at K32 and 158th, and they put in a beacon light. And they do say they're gonna level the hill there, but the folks that live out there would rather have a traffic light, but that's not what it calls for according to the traffic counts.
Sure.
And so we wanna go with what the experts and the people that are the engineers say, but at the same time, if you do know of a road that is very dangerous, do bring it to our attention, and we can forward it to the Public Works and they can look into it.
certainly.
But those are the things that we're working on, but we definitely want you guys to get in on some of that funding from the ARP money so we can get some matching. Hopefully we can get some projects that you guys are already working on and get some of that funding. That's gonna be my priority, to make sure you guys access that.
It sounds like a lot of the data is out there, and so do we need a study, or do we have the data we need to just request?
It depends
The funding
on
we
this, it would depend on the exact location and circumstance, but it is possible that all the information's already out there. It is possible.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you were just quoting that. So, thank you.
So thank you for letting me interact, and if you need anything from me, I'm doing my best to represent you. Thank you.
I
We appreciate it, Mike.
Commissioner. Thank you. Moving on to old business, there is none listed. Item 5 is new business. Item A, consider approval of payment of 2021 League of Kansas Municipalities membership fee. Mr. Porter?
Thank you, Mayor. This item is one you may recall from previous years. The city's been a member of the League of Kansas Municipalities for at least the last 6 or 7 years to our knowledge, and continues to gain value from our participation in that organization. Quick, before I discuss the fee arrangement, a quick overview of the services that we enjoy through our membership as a city include legislative advocacy efforts, legal aid, which I would note is especially helpful as state and federal regulatory changes rapidly approach through the COVID pandemic. We've listened to a lot of webinars and Q&A sessions and derived a whole lot more value, I think, than normal from that service. Research surveys on various issues affecting cities, and then also the opportunity to attend annual conferences and events, trainings. Those are all available to both staff and elected officials on the Planning Commission and City Council. So if you have any interest in those, please let staff know and we'll gladly give you a list of those events and trainings. The fee structure is similar to prior years. The base fee for cities of a second class is $475, and then the fee based on the city's respective share of the state's assessed valuation and population derives the remaining $2,619. So the total cost of the annual membership, which is budgeted in our general fund, is $3,274.67, and a simple motion to approve that would suffice for the action requested tonight. But if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Council, any questions for Mr. Porter or staff? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve payment of the 2022 League of Kansas Municipalities membership fee in an amount not to exceed $3,274.67.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 3-0. Moving on to item B, Resolution 012201, the 2022 gap waiver. Mr. Porter?
Thank you, Mayor. This item is another item that you may remember from last year in early January. Each year, the City Council considers and makes a decision about whether or not to waive the requirement for generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, to be the basis of the city's preparation of a financial audit and examination of the city's financial statements. The requirements of a GAAP basis audit are more extensive than a standard audit that Kansas municipalities are allowed to produce in accordance, to show accordance with cash basis law and budget laws in the state of Kansas. The city has not elected to move forward with a GAAP basis approach in several years, again, probably closer to 10, if ever. So staff do continue to make that recommendation, and the city's auditors, BT and Company, have not indicated in their annual reports or communications with staff any concerns that would mean their recommendation would be to look at a different style audit. So with the approval of this resolution, we would allow the procurement and procedure for the audit to take place in similar fashion to recent years. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, council? If there's no conversation, I would entertain a motion, please.
I'll motion to accept the resolution 01-22-01, waiving the gap requirement for 2022.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 3-0. With Mr. Donnelly out tonight, we will go ahead and swear in Ms. Stevens, correct?
Yes, Mayor. We have one other item, though, before, if you don't mind.
Apologies.
That's all right.
Item C, updated schedule of events for the 2022 GO bond and temporary notes issuance. Mr. Brakovich.
Yep, thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it. So previously, we had a discussion with the city council about future debt issuances related to public infrastructure projects and how that would phase into a general obligation debt. And so we talked about three big projects that we were working on. One was completing the Interceptor Sanitary Sewer to the business park. The second is the elevated water tower or water tank at the business park. And then the third was a combination of updates required for the wastewater treatment plant, as well as if our analysis of the water side produced any needed equipment upgrades or capacity upgrades on either of those sides. And so what staff had originally kind of presented to you was, hey, there's a way that we can continue to issue temporary notes for those projects until we knew a final number for all three, and then we could do one large debt issuance. Part of the discussion that we heard from the council was not necessarily opposition to that, but concern with, if interest rates are good now and we know what certain projects cost us, why don't we go ahead and get those permanently financed, and then we'll see what develops on the others. And so there's really not an action item tonight. It's just to kind of give you an update on where we're at between the discussions with our financial advisor and the bond attorneys. And so I'll start with the Interceptor Sanitary Sewer Project. Mr. Dale asked about that earlier. That is a completed project. So between the portion of the county economic development grant that we received and the temporary notes we had previously issued, we know the amount we need to go to permanent financing on that. And so we'll be advancing either at the next meeting in January or the first meeting of February as scheduled of what that would look like. On the water tower project, I don't know if I've stated it publicly, although Mr. Donnelly had asked me about it one time, and I think I missed the opportunity to say we did get preliminary approval from the EDA on the grant that we submitted for to help offset some of our costs with that water tower. And so we're looking to get in excess of about 1.5 million from that grant, and depending what costs are actually eligible. The city council did make a decision to go after a composite water tower, which is a little bit different cost. It was slightly higher than the middle of the road that we had originally planned for. So we're probably looking at a total project cost of about $3 million. So we're still hopeful that the grant pays somewhere near half that total cost. Our thoughts on that is to go the temporary note route for two reasons. One, we're not sure. I mean, we have an engineer's opinion of probable costs, but we're not sure if that's conservative. Does it come in a little high? And so there's no need for us to permanently finance. Let's say we're $500,000 high on our estimates. The city doesn't need to go issue that kind of debt for 20 years if we don't need those funds. And so what we're proposing is we'll go temporary note for that reason, and secondarily, we are in a pretty quick construction time frame. So to meet our obligations in the development agreement for Hills, that project will likely start and be completed this year. So temp note makes all the sense in the world. We'll get it done quick, we'll see what the total cost really was, and then maybe we can talk about more permanent financing later. I think the other part of that discussion will be, do we want to, at that point, will our analysis, and so as a reminder, again, we contracted with BG to do both the wastewater treatment plant analysis as well as the water side. So that's underway, and we should expect to see some preliminary findings on that. And again, as a reminder, we're asking them to look at two things. One is increasing capacity, and we're working with KDHE to determine exactly where we need to be. And then secondarily, looking at some of the equipment in there that, we're getting into that 20+ year mark. Some of that equipment's meeting its lifespan. So we just thought if we're gonna really discuss issuing debt to update that, let's just update everything we need to take a look at. And as I mentioned earlier, in case we need to do anything on the water supply side as well. So, but we don't have that number yet. So we're pretty sure we're going to have to go temp notes at some point on that project just to kind of get things started and rolling, because it'll likely be a phased in project. But we don't have any of those numbers yet. So kind of do a quick recap, move to permanent financing on the sanitary sewer because that project is done and we know what cost we have. Secondarily, the water tower, temp notes, let's see what happens during the course of the year, and then future date, be probably, well, more than likely, before the end of the year, we'll have hard numbers on wastewater treatment plant and water upgrades if needed. So we just wanted to kind of toss that all out tonight to recap it, so that if you start seeing agenda items to move forward with any one part of this financing, and I'd be happy to regurgitate all of that, even as we're discussing one component of it. But we thought it'd be beneficial, first meeting of the year, let's kind of retouch where we're at with each one of those really highly important parts. And, one thing that we'll continue to highlight is, this is an opportunity. It's a legacy style project for the current elected officials. My son loves Hamilton, so I always like to quote, legacy projects. You're planting the seeds of things you may never see come to fruition. But being able to leverage both county grants and federal grants to build infrastructure that will help Tonganoxie grow for the next 20 plus years, and using all those alternate funding sources to put that in place is significant, and I think certainly would be recognized as a legacy style project. So again, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions. As I mentioned, tonight was just kind of information only and a touch point to remind everyone where we were.
Thank you, Mr. Brakovich. Are there any questions?
Thank you for all your work on this and on the grant.
Thank you.
Okay, and you need nothing more from us, correct?
Nope, but, like I said, by the next meeting, we'll probably have at least one item related to the sanitary sewer fund.
Cool, just wanted to make sure you had what you needed. Now we're on to item D, swearing in of Commissioner Laura Lee Stevens.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll ask Ms. Stevens to raise her right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the
Of-
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
of the United States and of the state of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge the duties of City Council person
and faithfully discharge the duties of the city council person.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ms. Stevens.
That was very formal. Thank you. I should have dressed up.
You're a great addition to our team, and the way you carry yourself about town, it's just, it's fun to serve with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I feel like we have a good team right now, and I'm glad we're all here together.
Okay, moving on to the city manager agenda. Mr. Brakovich, did you have anything more?
No additional items, Mayor, thank you.
City attorney agenda. Ms. Krishalik, do you have anything on the phone with us?
Mayor, I do not have any items.
All right, thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem is in a warmer place than we are, so we'll skip him. City council agenda. Does anyone have anything for the city council agenda? And I ceded my time to the commissioner, so that brings us to Mr. Dale.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you all.